Hello, welcome to this first Facebook Live interview. I'm Chad Saley with Weatherby Healthcare. We're a Locum Tenens staffing agency that puts physicians, NPs, and PAs to work all over the country. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Stanley Green. He's a Locum Tenens physician, and we're going to talk a little bit about his experiences. First, a little bit about him. Dr. Green's a hospitalist. He completed his residency in 2016 and shortly thereafter started working Locum Tenens basically full time. Lee, thanks for taking some time this afternoon to sit down with us.
Thanks for inviting me to chat, Chad. I'm super excited to talk to you.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. Let's kick things off. Just talking with a little bit about locums. When did you first hear about Locum Tenens?
Now, locums wasn't something that I had heard a lot about during residency, but towards the end of residency, I was looking for an option that would give me a little bit more freedom in my schedule, would give me a few options to kind of look and see what was around. And one of my friends knew of a Locum Tenens company, put me in touch, and it was the lifestyle was a beautiful fit for me. So, 3 months out of residency, I started locums and have been, doing it now almost exclusively for 2 years.
Oh, that's great. What do you like about working locums?
Locums has really afforded me the opportunity to see different hospital systems, to not get bogged down by a lot of the bureaucracy or administrative responsibilities that sometimes taking a more traditional position would force on me. And to be honest, it's allowed me to kind of put myself in a position right out of residency where I can really start paying down my loans, which are quite voluminous, but are going away faster than I had first anticipated, thanks to locums.
No, that's perfect. I understand, rather than moving around a lot, that you've actually stayed in one place for quite a while. How has that experience been working locums, but on a long-term basis?
So I've been on my current assignment since December of last year. They initially asked me to stay just for 3 months. After those 3 months, they asked me to stay another 3 months. And right at the beginning of that second 3-month period, they said, will you just please stay until the end of the year? So sometimes locums is filling a position that may be empty for a longer period. It's actually been quite ideal for me. I have developed really strong relationships with the nursing staff, with my colleagues, with the specialists that I consult with. It feels like it's a hospital that's a home away from home. But like I said, I don't get bogged down by administrative meetings. I don't have to bother with, the vagaries of scheduling. I deal with my representative Werner at Weatherby, and he smooths everything out for me. So it's been a really nice process, and it's nice to know that come December, it may be time for a new assignment, and knowing that I have that flexibility to come and to go. Really liberates me to focus down on patient care and kind of let the other stuff fall to the wayside.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more, specifically patient care and the locums. How does working locums allow you to focus more on the patients? As you mentioned, you didn't have to deal with kind of the administrative side of things. What are the benefits on the patient side?
I've found that while I'm on assignment, I'm able to give my full attention to really just patient care. Certainly locums brings me away from home. I do a schedule where I'm on for 7 days, working an assignment, and then I'm off for 7 days. What I find is during those 7 days when I'm on, I'm not worried about, getting home early to take care of business. Everything is being taken care of, and I can just kind of put my focus just on the patients. Also, without having, the other duties that come along with being a part of a hospitalist group, I find that while my colleagues are going to scheduling meetings, going to extra trainings, doing all the things that you have to do to sort of keep up a regular hospitalist job, I'm able to just spend my time with the patients, spend my time getting to the bottom of what's wrong with them and getting them healthy and home safe.
Well, that's great. How are those relationships with the patients? What do they like? For example, what do they say when they find out that you're not a local physician?
Yeah, it oftentimes blows their mind because I'm not very familiar with the area that I'm working in. So folks will say, oh, I just live down on such and such street, and I'll say, I don't really know. I'm sort of new to the area, and then we'll kind of get into it, and they're like, oh, how long have you been living here? I said, well, I guess I kind of live here week on, week off. I'm actually commuting I live in Florida right now. So I'm commuting from Florida to Pittsburgh, and they say, wow, that's quite a commute. And for a lot of folks, they are surprised that they're surprised by the amount of attention that I can give to them, because they often think, if you're just here filling in, doesn't that mean that you don't really care about the patients? But I actually find that the opposite is true, that it gives me the liberty to really focus down on what's going on with the patients and let the other stuff kind of take care of itself. A lot of folks are surprised. I get a lot of requests to say, where's your office? Can I come see you in your office? I said, well, I don't really have an office, and I don't actually even live here. So yeah, it's a paradigm that most patients are surprised by, but they're very happy about the care that they're receiving. So I've gotten pretty good feedback.
No, that's great. How about feedback from, I guess, your fellow physicians? Do you get a lot of questions about working as a locums, or what are the types of things that you hear from the doctors that you get to work with?
Well, I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of folks saying that they're jealous from the kind of freedom that I have. A lot of questions about, what is do you have to book your flights? Are you paying for these hotels? Questions about the logistics. And I must say that has been one of the best experiences that I've had working with Weatherby, that logistically I don't worry about anything. Ashley, sends me a flight ticnerary, says, does this look okay? I give her the thumbs up, and she books everything that I need. I don't, not a cent comes out of my wallet for the hotel stay, for the car rental. Everything is really well taken care of. So they worry about, a lot of folks ask about the logistics. And the other part of the logistics is credentialing and getting privileges at new facilities, because that is a hoop that a lot of my colleagues have had to jump through a few times, and they say, oh man, if I have to do that again, I'm not really willing. Weatherby took all of my information, my diploma, my certifications, all the paperwork, and have just taken it and run with it. They get in touch with the credentialing folks and take care of all of that. And certainly, one of the big questions is the finances of locums. And like I said before, when I looked at coming out of residency into practice, I looked at quite a few different positions, both in the hospital and outside. And then I looked at what was available in locums and found that to kind of, I'm hoping to have my loans paid off sooner rather than later. And when I sat down with a financial advisor, they said, look, the locums job will help you pay off your loans sooner. And of course, they had some trepidation. They said, will you be able to maintain that kind of lifestyle? And I actually find that I'm more well-rested and more capable at my job now than when I was either office-based or hospital-based with a more traditional position.
So, what would you say are your long-term plans for locums? And you talked about getting those loans paid off, and maybe talk a little bit. Most people watching probably don't realize that you were born in South Africa. Maybe tell us a little bit about your long-term plans for locums and your plans for South Africa.
So yeah, I was born in South Africa. Me and my family emigrated to the States when I was pretty young, hence no accent. But when I got into healthcare, I think that most of us get into healthcare with the idea that we want to be helpful in some way. And when I got into healthcare, I realized, the U.S. has a good number of physicians. I mean, we still need more, but there are other places in the world that need physicians more than here. South Africa, rural South Africa being one of those places. And I thought one of the best things I could do was probably return to South Africa and help out there. Oftentimes, I've heard from my colleagues that they go into school expecting to do a lot of good in the world. And, they talk about doing a profit or doing international health, and then they end up saddled by these huge loans. And, it then becomes about sort of a game of survival about getting these loans paid off. And soon the dreams of doing work that maybe is more beneficial to humanity kind of fades. The way that locums has worked for me thus far is helping me pay off my loans faster than I would have been otherwise. But in the future, what I'm hoping to do is do a part-time international, part-time U.S. work, meaning that do a few months here in the States to save up some money to perhaps even fund the work that I do internationally so that I may be able to do work fully pro bono, and then spending hopefully a majority of the year overseas doing work there, which works out, I think will work out rather nicely considering, I still have most of my family in South Africa, but I still have my immediate family here, and my wife's family is based here. So we're going to do a little double life, I suppose.
Nice. No, that sounds exciting. We've been getting a couple of questions. One of them was, what part of South Africa are you from?
I was born in a very small town called Oudtshoorn, which is in the Little Karoo Desert, which is a few hours drive away from Cape Town. But most of my family lives in the Durban and Pietermaritzburg area of South Africa.
Is that where you would foresee going back?
Near to Durban, Pietermaritzburg, that area is called the KwaZulu-Natal province, and they have been particularly hard hit by the HIV epidemic, and they are always in need of more medical staff, especially medical staff who's willing to go outside of the city, center of cities into the more rural areas to do healthcare. So I've started conversations with some family members who have connections there, some medical staff there, as well as some medical missions that have already gone there to see if I can establish something going forward. My goal is not only just to go myself, but also draw some of my colleagues here in the States to come over and commit to doing some medical missions there in South Africa as well. So hopefully I'll be able to establish some kind of rural practice where I can not only just staff it myself, but also bring over health professionals from the States to help staff as well.
Oh, that sounds incredible. What another question that came in from the viewers is, what is the pay like working as a locums?
So first of all, the pay, the way that the pay comes in is different. I don't work on salary. I am an independent contractor who is paid for the work I do. I keep a pretty steady schedule of 7 days on, 7 days off. I find that it's a really good work-life balance. It gives me time to spend with my wife, to kind of decompress and kind of come back to myself before starting a new schedule. So locums, what I've found is that locums has afforded me a salary that's 25 to 40% higher than the kind of salaries I was looking at coming straight out of residency. But my earning potential is actually more than that. I have colleagues who work, all kinds of different schedules. I have a colleague who works 10 days at one hospital, 10 days at another hospital, and then takes another 10 days off. But he's not just a workaholic, but he's a travel fanatic. So he does 20 days of shifts with just one day in between, and then takes off for 10 days, goes to the Caribbean or to Europe and really fills his time with travel. So there are a lot of different kind of lifestyles, and the earning potential is variable based on how much you're willing to work. But for me personally, I'm making 25 to 35% more than most of the job offers I was getting right outside of residency.
Wow. No, this is great. Dr. Green, I really appreciate you taking some time with us this afternoon. You can learn more about Dr. Green on our blog. We've got a post going up that talks more about his experience. And then next week, as we're celebrating National Locum Tenens Week, we're actually going to let Dr. Green take over Weatherby's Instagram account, and we'll be showing you kind of his life on assignment and what life is like for him. So tune in for that. And thanks to all of you for watching. And thanks again, Dr. Green. We really appreciate it. And everyone have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Chad. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.